Hi everyone and welcome to our first tutorial series in MQL4 programming. In this video series, we are not just going to talk about it, we are actually going to start coding. And I will teach you everything you need to know to write your own EA in a learning by doing way. So that means we will code together and I'm commenting and explaining every step along the way. Of course, we will not start with very complicated things right away. We will slowly work us to the top with every video. So I hope you are all excited. Let's dive in. Okay, you can see my MetaTrader in front of me. First thing is click on this icon. And then we are inside the meta editor. That's where all the coding magic happens. And here we will write our EA. But don't worry if this looks a bit daunting or complicated. I'm going to walk you through it step by step. So first things first, let's start a new project. First go to the top to data and then not new project, go to new file. And then we click on that. After that, we can leave it like that. We choose the expert advisor template, then we go to next, and then we can name our EA. You can call it anything you like, but try to keep it relevant to what your EA will do. For now, I will name it my first EA. Amazing. Then we click on next, and again, next, and then finish. That's it. Great. Here it is, the basic structure of an MQL4 expert advisor. Looks a bit intimidating, but don't worry. As I said, by the end of the series, you will understand every line of code. First, let's look at the basic structure of an expert advisor. In MQL4, the structure is predefined in an onInit function, onDinit function, and in an onTick function, and as well a header part. Right at the top, you will also notice a block of comments enclosed in plus and minus signs. This is standard template provided by Metacross. That's the company behind the MetaTrader 4. And it contains basic copyright informations and link to their website. When you write your EA, you can change that to your needs. Below, you can see the properties. Here again, you can change that when you write your own EA. This is what you see when someone is inserting your expert advisor. Then they will see, okay, copyright Metacross. Website is MQL5. If you're coding your EA, you can keep that empty. You can write here your name or stuff like that. It's not important. But just in case, this is what people can see when they insert your EA. Great. And before we dive into those three functions, let's take a moment to understand what a function is. In programming, a function is a name section of a program that performs a specific task. Functions help to organize your code, making it more readable and reusable. A function, most of the time, takes in some data, does something with it, and returns a result. Functions are used to define the behavior of the EA. For example, in the future, we will write a function called getValue of RSI. This function can then be called whenever we want. So it makes everything more reusable, but more on that in the future. So our template right now provides three functions: onInit, onDinit, and onTick. Let's now move on to the onInit function. This function is called when the EA is attached to the chart or the terminal is started. So it's the perfect place for tasks you have to do at the beginning, like setting up your variables or opening any resources needed by the EA. So this function will only run one time at the beginning. That's it. You insert EA, this function will be called right at the beginning. That's it. For example, you can write here an expiration date. If you want to share your EA with someone, this is the best place to restrict its usage. If the expiration date is exceeded, you return init failed, and the EA gets automatically removed from the chart. And if the expiration date is not exceeded, you return init succeeded. But we will make this example in the future. For right now, we have this pre-built function. So that means when we put the EA into the chart, the onInit will be called and it's just returning init succeeded. So that means everything was successful. In the future, if we make a restriction, we can then ask if the expiration date is exceeded, then return init failed, then the EA will get removed automatically. Otherwise, if it's not exceeded, we can return init succeeded. But for now, as I said, we will keep it that way. Great. Next is the onDinit function. And this is called when the EA is being removed from a chart or the terminal is closing. It's typically used for cleanup tasks like closing any open resources or removing any drawings from the chart. An example for that is an indicator. If you remove it from the chart, all the drawings will also get removed. Pretty simple and useful. And that's exactly done in this function. If you want to remove something or stuff like that, this is the perfect place to do that. It will only run once and exactly then when you close the terminal or when you remove the EA from the chart. And finally, we have the onTick function. And this function is called every time a new quote is received for the symbol. That means every time the price is changing, this function will be triggered. So this is basically where we will put all our main logic of our EA. Now that we understand the structure of an EA, let's cover some basic data types in MQL4. Data types are defining the kind of data a variable can hold. So let's do that together. Okay, here we go. Outside of all the functions, we will now write our first variables. Let's start with an easy type, and that's a bool. Okay, what is a bool? A bool can hold two things, true or false. That's it. A boolean can have exactly two values, true and false. So let's make an example. Bool, that's the data type, then is trading allowed. That's the name of the variable, and we give it the value false. Here we go. Okay, that means every time we are calling somewhere in our EA, when we are calling this variable, we will get false. Pretty simple. This variable is holding now this value. Great. Then let's move on with a string. So, what is a string? A string is used to store text. Let's make an example. String comment equals my first EA. Amazing. Okay, so as you can see, always when we are referring to a string, we have to put this into quotation marks. Don't forget that. That's just for strings. Okay, then let's move on with the next data type, and that's an integer. An int stands for a number without decimal points. So, for example, int SL, so our stop loss, equals 10. Here we go. Perfect. Whenever we call now SL, then we get the value 10. I will repeat it. Integer is a number without decimal points. Now we move on with a double. What's a double? A double is a number with decimal points. So, for example, risk equals 1.5. And here we go. This variable risk can now hold a number with decimal points. We can also hold even numbers like 2, but the data type double has the benefit it can also hold variables with decimal points. So here we go, we will go with 1.5. Great. Then let's go to the next data type, and that's color. So it's pretty simple. The data type color is for colors. And as you will see now, there are already some predefined colors. You can just type in CLR, then you will see some predefined colors. And I will go with red. That's amazing. Great, let's move on with the next data type, and that's date time. And that's for saving dates. Here we go. Let's make a start date, and then we will get it the time current. We can see this is already a predefined function by MQL4, so I can just call it and I will get back the server time. Pretty easy. Okay, let's repeat that real quick. Bool was for two values, true or false. String is for text, int is for numbers without decimal points, double for numbers with decimal points, color is for colors, and datetime is for timestamps. Great. Now we have learned the basic structure of an EA and the fundamental data types in MQL4. It's time to put this knowledge into practice. So let's add some simple logic to our onTick function. Here we go. Let's first define a variable, double, call it current price. Here we go, equals, and then we ask for the bit. As we can see, we can just call bit and then we will get the current bit price of the current symbol. Great. So whenever onTick is now called, we will ask for the bit and this value is then saved in the current price. Awesome. Here we go. Then let's add a small condition. If, and then we open the brackets, then I will ask for is trading allowed equals true. That will mean now only when is trading allowed equals true. Right now it's false, but we will leave it like that, is true. And keep in mind two equal signs, two and signs in an if statement. And the current price is smaller than 1.2. Okay, great. So whenever is trading allowed is equals true and the current price is lower than 1.2, then let's do something. Open curly brackets, close curly brackets. Okay, we can see if we make an if statement, we have to open the normal brackets. We have to close it after the condition is finished and then open curly ones. Here we go. Let's type printf. That will just mean we print something down. Sending by order. Great. That means now always when is trading allowed is true and the current price is lower than 1.2, we will send an order. And then make an else statement. Else will always get triggered when one of those conditions is not met. So whether is trading allowed is false or the current price is not above 1.2, then we will land in this else statement. Let's make here as well a print and no order. Great, here we go. That's it for now. Let's compile it. Then let's open the MetaTrader. I'll move the MetaTrader right here and I will put this in here. Now we have the EURUSD open and let's drag this EA into our chart and let's click on OK. Now we can go into experts and we can see no order. Not so good. No problem, because we know why this is happening. So every tick we can see the software is printing no order. Then let's analyze it. So it is above 1.2. That's great. Is trading allowed has to be also true, and as we can see it's still false. Let's change that to true, compile it, and here we go, sending by order. Now we can change here as well something. Okay, now let's change that to 1.05. Then we click on compile and we can see no order. Okay, great. That was now our first condition with some basic data types. Great. So, and that's it for today's tutorial. We have learned about the structure of an MQL4 expert. We have explored some basic types and we've even coded a simple decision-making process in our EA. Remember, always practicing is key when learning a new programming language. So try playing around with these concepts and see what you can come up with. In our next tutorial, we will dive deeper into trading operations in MQL4. So we will actually open trades and also with a bit more complex stuff. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.